Right, hello and welcome. We've got an 11v11 on Canyon. The 10v10 server is actually too full. We've had to have an extra guy dip into the spectator slot. ANS team, we got Ink of Not. This is a 3K 11v11. ANS team, we got Ink of Not, Quiz, Tim Frack, Magnet, Switchback, who owns this server, by the way, and operates it. Thank him very much for that. Thank you, Switchback, for putting this together. Alexiev, just a blank username. Vicenix, Discorus, Bill Manitor, Zombarino. On the OSP team, we got Goodman, 528, Toasty Medic, Ellis Wrath, Metsuke, Kerbal Space Police, Ryab, Piston Miner, Internet Explorer, Captain Chaos, Dramus, and it's just Virgil. Yeah, I imagine it's going to be pretty brutal. I know the last few games have sort of owned my poor little frame rate. Might need to turn the graphical fidelity down when doing these big matches. Oh, I'm very excited. We've also got the point situation figured out. It's a 2K point default on Canyon on this server, because Switchback knows what he's doing, apparently, which is great. I think it's going to be good for the larger player count. Oh, woo, I'm ready. I think Canyon suits this large player count a lot more than it suits the 5v5. I think like 7 or 8 is the kind of the sweet spot per team, but having all this is fun. Looks like we're dropping down with the OSP team. It's an Acela with guns on it and defenders on the side. Very slow drop down. This is the part of the game that I think chugs the worst. Oh boy, look at those screens. We're here with Piston Miner. Okay. Who has 2 combat Ocellos with 450s, Auroras, some PD, and a blanket. Okay. Ryab bringing shuttles, just shuttle spam. First shuttle has a Lyrebird on it, of all things. Pinpoint, rockets, another Lyrebird, rockets. Oh, and a line ship with containers and plasma. Yeah. After all the wars that have been fought, this here on this hunk of rock shall be the deciding game. The deciding battle, I should say. It's not a game, it's Space War. And then some support tugs with guns, and a little bit of point defense and lockup radars. Toasty Medic with another pair of combat Ocellos. Oh man, look at all the Ocellos on this team. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 Ocellos on the OSP team. Oh my. This is going to be a wacky match, especially since it seems like the ANS is pretty light on their tonnage. Look at all the frigates. Look at all the destroyers. I don't think there's a single battleship on it. There is one single battleship on this team. A few Axfords. And just a couple voxels. Not very many voxels either. Very interesting. Toasty Meta got a pretty good spread, point defense on those. Chaos coming in hot again with the mine team. I don't know about this chief. He's a fun guy, but I still think the mine play's a fucking bad idea. It's just funny I say that because I've built multiple mine fleets at this point. I just don't know what the hell to do with them. Anyways, C-53, those fire 250 rounds. With some Bastions, Lyrebird, and then some Velus ones for Chaff, presumably. Yep. Plasma monitor and support. Pure plasma on that monitor. Nice. I like doing those. And you don't really see them that often. People usually put plasma on front and then T-30s on the top and bottom. Bloodhound, EWR tug, and a Naked Scout. Good man with 3 liners. Bloodhound and some mass drivers. Bloodhound and mass drivers. Bloodhound and mass drivers. Simple as it gets. Problem is there's no point defense on any of these, which is a little bit of a risk. Any counter-fire missiles get fired up here, these things are just dead. And missiles are usually what you wind up engaging sniper classes with anyways. And an Explorer bringing his usual build, the Alamo, the 450 Ocello, plus the revolver ship here. Lovely. Looks like those ships got passed on, which is good. Beast Grazer. Tug, and then a scout shuttle. Virgil with a Commodore Cello. 450s, Sarissas, Stonewalls. Damn, really strong PD out of that. No one's going to be shooting that fool. Some roll-off, a VLS, a couple container stack launchers, and then some 450s. Man, that's the well-rounded backside of this. 32 Thunderheads. Interesting. Not often you see something like that. I like it. 450s, Sarissas, Bastions, Dramas. Plasma. Oh, plasma broadsides. No, these are T-81s. These are plasma turrets. I mean, if you're only bringing 4 anyways, why not bring the broadside version? Huh. The enemy has secured Zone Gambit. EWR, Pavises, and Spitball. And now we're down to Kerbal Space Police, who we started with? No, we started with Piston Miner, who is apparently being locked by something. 2 sets of 450 Ocellos with some point defense and some jammers. And some lockups. Oh my god, everybody's taking points. Combat Ocello with 450s. Plasma and T30s and T20s. Oh my god, there's not enough point defense on this team. Metskid taking a huge gamble. Plasma's nice, the T30s are nice, but T20s as well. No point defense on that team except for this Ocello, which is, I mean, that's pretty good friggin' point defense, but 2 Sarissas and an Interrupter. And a whole bunch of blankets. Goodness. How did you find the electricity for this? I see. Okay. Let's see if... Bring a Frig Blob. He's got 1 Pinard, 2 Pinard, 3 Pinard. What? 4 Pinards? Spread all over the map. I mean, that's going to give phenomenal vision, but... It's so many points just to get those stacked up. Well, in a game like this, that might actually be super strong. I don't think that'd be very good in a normal game. But this is absolutely... I think it'd be quite useful here, because you'll always know where your opponents are if you can get those spread out right. Railgun. Railgun. So a few railguns, but they're kind of spread out. They might not be able to shoot on the same target. And you really want to stack railfire on one target so you can get those debuffs stacked high enough that they can't be easily repaired. And then a lockup. This is such a weird fucking build. Good luck, buddy. You're going to need it. Hexaverl guns. This is running significantly worse than the last match we had here, even though the last match was a 10v10. It's just running on my side of things worse, not like generally worse. And I don't have, actually have fewer things in operation right now. Fight happening up top here, not really able to go through the ANS team. Internet Explorer getting in a fight, taking some hits. It's absolutely dominating force that we've seen before. Might get taken down early up top, getting hit by some rails, and fighting an Axford at the same time. Although this Ocello's taking the brunt of the force, so this revolver ship's going to be able to dish it out. It's obviously Bill mandatory in that fight with his 450s and point defense and locking radar, which is currently firing and locking that ship. He's also got a railgun in support and a cannon rains. Not really that much point defense to go around that team, but it's probably going to be fine. The OSP wasn't bringing hardly any missiles to this fight. Might be time to take the gamble on the missiles and just bring fewer point defense, because people just aren't bringing missiles. I don't know. It's been the past couple matches I've seen. And there's just nobody bringing missiles. I don't know what the hell that's about. Well, I say that, and this ink here is bringing some. A lot of Mark IIs, a whole lot more Mark IIs. Maybe people are bringing missiles, and I'm just used to like a bajillion trillion. Everybody and their mother is bringing missiles of one sort or another, so you really gotta have that extra PD. Because you get focused down, you'll be screwed. Are you bringing... Yep, another rail spam fleet. So we got quite a few railguns on the field for the ANS team, which was really awesome to see, because I think in a match like this, they can do some incredible work. Truly incredible work. Quiz. I think actually bringing a missile ship. Yep. So I take it back. Don't skimp on your PD, folks. Keep bringing the PD, because you never know when someone brings it. Look at that. Look at all those H3s and the H2s and the H3s and the H2s. So many. That's very dangerous. Those are presumably also quite expensive. Wouldn't want to get hit with that. It might be... I know why it's running worse, because there are more ships. There are way more ships on this map, this match, than there were on the last match. That's got to be why it's running like crap, because it's specifically frame lag, right? Like, this isn't time dilation, this isn't the server having problems, this is my PC having issues handling the game. Some combat reigns down here, just a little old style frig blog. Reigns and fenders, which are going to run into some Ocellos, a whole lot of Ocellos, which means they're going to get torn to shreds. Presumably, since they can't really dodge anymore, even 450s, and certainly not that close range. Tim Fragman here heading towards Alpha, or has already headed towards Alpha.
The enemy is securing zone Gambit.
A couple combat reigns in his fighting Axford. And a couple scallops, more Pinards. It's awesome to see people use the Pinards like this. I really like them. You get a lot of use out of them. Look at how spread they are. God, even on the tactical map, my game is chug-a-luggin'. Got a little beam team over here. Keystones, the beams, decent point defense, jammers. And a Sarissa support. Man, they are not taking any chances over here. Wow. A naked scout. Zombarino with his usual fleet. Axford. Ooh, and getting into a fight, actually. We're going to have to go through him. Axford with some decent PD and guns and some torpedoes on the back. 2 beam ships also with decent PD, and then an E-War Sprinter. And this guy up here with 450 cannons, tons of Sarissas for handling all the containers and hybrids the USP team has. Unfortunately, it doesn't have either of those right now. Hybrids because it obviously can't, and containers, just nobody brought containers this time out, which is unfortunate. I think containers are great on Canyon. And defenders. Okay, let's go down to watching Zombarino getting blown up. Sorry, buddy. But you're getting caught out by a plasma ship. Oh man, that's pretty brutal. Which is being... I see, that's why... Well, no, that doesn't make any sense either, because you could put plasma on one side and then the C-53s on the other. Maybe the C-53s are on the roof. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. So the C-53s are on the roof of this, or the bottom, actually. Where's the bridge? I think that's the bridge. Yeah, that's the bridge. So it's on the bottom. The turrets can fire, and the guns can fire as well, all at the same time. And so you can dump good damage onto something while also ripping its armor away. That's a cute build. Not having to rely on T-30s for damage is really nice. Oh, my frame's plummeting even harder. Wish I could figure out what exactly was causing this. This might be a little unwatchable for some of you. Let's get some weird visual effects out of this plasma here. And they're like accelerating the last little bit as the server catches my computer up on what's actually happening. You can hear that lag on the sound. I switched the jack map and the clunk sound lagged quite a ways behind. So as we've been going through all the intro, fighting has started. ANS pretty concentrated around the Delta Echo side of the map. OSP over here in Force 2, but not anywhere near as much force as this. So if all this can stick together, they could definitely destroy all these Ocellos Oh, they're going to take a lot of fire for it, and we can see some fire going back and forth right now. OSP team is maneuvering for the top of the map and taking it, pushing off the, oh my god, well, and that's another thing I don't like about mines is fucking, I can't use the screen. It's just visual puke. Bill Manitor kind of contesting the top area, but not really able to do that much on his own. Looks like another fleet coming up. One from Quiz, one from Inc. They might altogether be able to make this push more effective. On the Gulf Bravo side of the map, OSP teams here in a much larger force, and the ANS team's kind of abandoned this area. I mean, there are a few forces here, but I wouldn't exactly call a frig blob a strong defense. Got ANS sprinters spread all over the map with those Pinards. Going to be able to spot the OSP team with pretty reliable tracks from just about every angle. I'd like to see what those look like, actually, getting spotted by this many Pinards at once from different directions. Surely that mass driver team in particular is just lit up, and everybody's got an eye on those. Coming down to this part of the map. I mean, the fighting is fierce. Not a lot of fighting happening over the more covered area of Canyon. But it's going freaking crazy out here. Zombie Renault. We can bring this up. We can bring this up. We can bring this up. There it goes. Zombie Renault over here fighting Dramus. Yeah, right now it's Dramus and Toasty Medic. Again, it's Switchback, Zombarino, more Switchback, and Alexiev is over here. Pretty good volume of fire. The railguns debuffing these poor things into the ground, also setting fires, and I don't think, well, there are enough DC teams here that the fires aren't going to be too oppressive, but it is going to mean the damage incoming from normal things is going to add up because they're so busy putting out all the fires. Also got these shit, look at this just huge volume of fire coming out here from the ANS team. With the two frig blobs, or maybe just one frig blob split off into two groups. Yeah, that's what's going on. One frig blob split off into two groups, plus Zombie Venom's little Kampfgruppe here. The axe for taking the bulk of the fire from everything is going to enable these smaller, weaker ships to dish out the damage. That plasma, of course, tearing the armor off this, and the incoming 250, 450, and 100 millimeter fire is going to deal an immense amount of damage to this. Well, if it can land, track might not be that great. Well, no, that can't be correct because all the plasma's hitting like crazy. Well, those 450 Ocellos are having some issues landing their shots. Unless they're firing at something behind. No, that can't be it. Look at how beat up that Ocello is. Look at how beat up this is. That Axford is pretty beat up as well, but this whole team back here is in a bad way, except for this single ship. I mean, this isn't that bad, considering, but it's definitely not in a place where you want it to be. Alright, that's what's going on over here. Let's check around to see, make sure we're not missing anything else while focusing on that big fight over there. Looks like the top of the map still being contested by the ANS, but the OSP is mostly able to maintain control for that. That might not last, though, as a lot of the ships that were up here have sort of rotated under to fight these teams and to fight on middle as well.
The enemy secured zone ends.
I think this is a rail fleet. No, this is beam team. This is a beam team. Pushing Golf. Trying to catch all these ships out. But they're able to dip up under cover. Ooh. Why do I keep yawning? I'm quite awake. It's the middle of the afternoon. And I'm very excited to be here. What is going on? Oh man, my poor computer's having some problems. So we can actually just go back here and watch this man die. Because there's not really that much happening anywhere else. And we can see we're having kind of the opposite experience of the last large match on Canyon, where the OSP just sort of spread out and lumped on the ANS, just surrounded them and devoured them. So far, things are going pretty well. ANS has only lost 2 frigates, and they're taking some damage on another one. Meanwhile, the OSP team is pretty bruised. A lot of green around, but KSP and Dramus are both taking huge damage. So is Internet Explorer, I think. Not as much as I would thought. Kevin Case has lost a ship. I don't know what happened to this. Might have eaten its own mines, considering where it got killed. No. I don't know. I don't know. These beams might have lasered it and then rotated down here? No, because they came from this direction. Yeah, I have no idea what happened to that ship. The rail team debuffing the hell out of these 2 forces over here might allow that beam team time to get into position. Unfortunately, I don't think a beam team engaging against 2 ships or 2 fleets at close range would be a very good idea, even though the beams are very powerful. And especially powerful against Auroras and Monitors. Just the sheer volume of points that is over here could be very troubling. Those Auroras, what the hell are y'all firing at? Ah, one of the scouts. Gonna be taking some of those hits. Let's go back to the real action. This fight over here, OSP is in retreat as the push led by Zombarino. Well, Zombarino actually backing off. He was the first one into the fight, but he's kind of leaving it now. No, I mean, he's still pushing forward, just at a much slower rate than previously. Allowing the raids to take point. I have no idea what's happening. Inside of my body, I have no idea why I'm yawning my booty off. It's very annoying. Sacello's up front, and it's going to be taking an immense volume of fire. We're going to see these mines might be able to catch someone, but I don't think so. Maybe if they're too busy fighting, they might run into these, but they're just like out in space. You can just see these, man. Anybody can walk up and shoot them with, can just lean out the window of their ship and blast them. Rails laying into this team, or the ship right here. Not able to get any good debuffs off just yet, but fires are getting spread out throughout the ship, which could be a problem, especially once these beams get here. We came here just in time to watch this laser slowly creep and maybe deal some damage on this. Well, I think it got some damage off already. No way the rails by themselves did that much damage. Zor, 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 zor. And this is just one of the 4. Plasma fire returning onto those beams. PC locker gets snipped out. That's going to be kind of a problem. Ooh. The ship, Jarmus's liner, plasma liner, just went nuclear over here. Missed that. What's going on this side of the map? Not that much. These 2 fleets are kind of standing off at each other and just staring menacingly. Oh, what is this beam cannon doing? I see. This Sacello has pushed forward and got completely annihilated by beams. I could actually do some... Yeah, those blast points are big. I think he got killed by his own mines. Or someone else's missiles. This Sacello getting cut to shreds by this beam ship. It is dead, dead, dead. Beam teams are still going to be firing into that. Oh my god. Big ol' battle still happening over here. ANS team definitely winning it, continuing to push forward. OSP, not in a complete route, but in a fighting retreat. Bunch of rocket shuttles coming up here to help. Not able to get that many off, though. Might have fired more earlier, but if they did, they didn't do that much in the way of damage. A few Bruce ships in here. But these are mostly on the other side, and submarinos. High point defense is going to be able to clean those up with these. Ah, there goes the rest of the rockets, but I'm not that concerned with them like getting to target. I think that's very unlikely considering the sheer volume of flak that this thing has. Beams I'm asking behind this wall. Finally able to fight these Ocellos, maybe, but he's more focused on the liner team, which might not be the best choice. Oh my god, that is a lot of laser. That is a lot of laser. This thing is just done. It's out. No restores, no drive, no reactor. It's done. Rails going into this other Polker. Debuffing the heck out of it, but again, I think the Ocellos right now are the prime target for these because they're able to, yeah, do that with their big 450s. Might even be firing 450 HE. Yeah, probably firing HE, which is why that's not pinning, and instead doing an absolutely absurd amount of damage. Reinforced CICs, which is good, but just the sheer damage coming out of those Ocellos, I think it's going to make very short work of this team, especially if they don't switch to kill the Ocellos. Captain Chaos is dipped after presumably getting his other ship exploded for somehow. I see, yeah. Looks like this probably got hit by a rail, lost its comms, and then got blown up by its own mines. Or it just got shot to pieces? Yeah, I think it just got shot, actually, like a whole lot. Try to put some mines down up here. I don't think mining points is a very good idea, because again, yeah, these are just in the open. These ships way over here can just shoot these with their RPF rounds. Like it's nothing. I'm convinced that mines have a place and nobody knows what that place is yet. Certainly not me. I made a couple mine fleets. I think I mentioned this in the last video, but it's just... I don't know what the hell to do with them. I really don't. I'm sure someone's gonna figure it out at some point, but that point is not right now. I do respect the attempt, though, to try to make something happen with these. I just think co-ops are the way. Sprints are good, but co-ops can overwhelm most PD networks if you build them right. Or if you dump out enough of them, I should say. They're also the same price as the default Matic. Fast driver fire coming into Lamborghino's force over here. OSP getting some good damage in, despite being retreating, but nowhere near as much as the ANS team is able to put down the field. Especially now with this Axford taking the lead. Plasma Bulker out of Ryab getting over here.
The enemy is securing zone Boxer.
Able to contribute some to this fight. Who's grabbing Bravo? OSP shuttle backcapping Bravo right under the Beamstone's nose. That is unbelievably bold. Maybe a little stupid, but I respect it. That's completely unhinged. Coming out of Kerbal Space Police. These are going to rotate to shoot it, presumably. Well, maybe not. They're having some pretty severe maneuverability problems related to flying around in fleet formation. The OSP team, oh my god, it's so hard to get around the map with this flying rate. OSP team not pushing up, instead engaging the top of the map, looks like. Yeah, where, alright, the ANS team has managed to push the top of the map and take control of it with the help of this battleship. Look at how tiny this battleship looks. Look at how tiny it is. He's microscopic compared to the unimaginable scale of this map and this voxel team able to take control of Foxtrot. Unfortunately, Foxtrot, the only point the ANS currently has. And that might be spelling doom over the long term. I think the ANS is doing real well militarily, but they just don't have the map control. It's rail team and the beam team doing some more damage here to this force, but these Ocellos are what the real threat is, and they're fine. I mean, they're beat up. They're not perfect, but they're fine and able to deal out a good bit of damage, especially now that they've got defilade on those rails. They don't actually, or do they? Yeah, they do, just barely. Maybe. No, this one doesn't, and this one's about to not either. A lot to keep up with. Sorry if me jumping around like this is disorienting to you, but it's the only way to really, truly keep up with what's going on the map here. We got this fight continuing. ANS forces pushing. They've pushed the OSP pretty much out of this whole region. And they will be able to take Delta over here. I wonder what the fuck commentating Conquest is gonna look like. I'd certainly like to do that. If it's even feasible. Since it's like turn-based, but there are skirmish matches as well. I don't know. I don't know. That's a long way off from now, though. So I really don't need to be that worried about it. Ocello's still in this fight because Ocellos are crazy good and they're able to just tank and tank and tank. There is so much radar coming in here from the OSP team. They can see everything. Absolutely everything. There's no question of that. There is nothing they can't see over here. No doubt. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with that information. Other than, well, shoot 450s and mass drivers into this blob. ANS starting to regain some more map control. They've got Bravo, they've got Echo over here. And I don't think there's that much. Well, there's enough here to contest Echo that it could be a real problem. This team able to clear up the mines. Seems pretty painlessly. But they're getting attacked in the rear by these Ocellos, which are also... Oh, Ocello and double monitor team is what's attacking in the rear. Got... Great, thanks. That's exactly what I wanted to look at. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Go back over here. Fucking game. How dare it accept my input commands as I put them in and not just know what I want. Able to, with this sheer volume of plasma, able to take down this Axford, especially since they're engaging me in the rear, pretty safely. I think he's getting pretty close to being dead, because this one's dead, this one's dead, this one's dying. Might be dying soon. Fuck Alias. I don't know what that means, but okay. Get clowned on. Kerbal space, please. Okay. Is one of these named Alias? No? Breaking my ankles. Alright, let's go find Weez next. See what happened to him. Okay, he's here on Bravo. I see. I see. And this is owned by Kerbal Space Police, but presumably it used to belong to, yeah, Ellis Rath, who crashed out. Just sort of looping around in a circle, presumably based on the direction these beams are. He's just kind of spinning around them in a circle and forcing these beams to be stuck over here, rotating in their weird formation. It's perfectly acceptable to pull your fleet out of formation, by the way, and then to remake the formation later. If you're having some weird problems with something in close and your formation doesn't like it, pull your ships out of formation, manually maneuver them, and then put them back in formation when you're ready to move out. That's actually extremely, like, that's a really good way to play. I know it's a little micro intensive, but knowing when to have your stuff in formation and when to not is, by my kin, a big issue in this game. Some people never use formations and they're worse off for it, and I'm in that list. And some people use them way too much and they're also worse off for it. They have a place, but they have a very specific place. This is yet another scout shuttle getting cleaned up, or sprinter getting cleaned up. ANS still has, God, the sprinters all over the place, scouting the entire universe. It's awesome to see. I'm glad John brought his sprinter fleet, even though I don't think it's that strong of a fleet. This is like the ultimate support build right here. Uh-oh, my game's logging up. My whole computer's logging up. Hello? Oh, okay, so it was the flash happening back there that caused everything to freeze and the frame rate to get even worse. So we're going to dip out to the tactical map temporarily so I can actually see what's going on. The fight on Echo continues to go in the OSP's favor, as is expected. Good show, although a lot of damage being taken for it. A lot of damage. All these ships, just except for this one apparently, is significantly worse for wear, but they will be able to cap Echo here soon. The ANS team continues to moving here on Delta with the Frig Blob and Zomperino's little cruiser team continue to be firing at as well. Oh, it looks like this is firing at the back team. No, it's firing at the Axford. Okay, this is highlighting the Axford. One of these bulkers is highlighting Axford. This Bloodhound, and then that's getting shot at 450s by the Toasty Medic. Got some missiles coming out up here on top of the map. Not sure where. Oh, nope. Where those are headed. Some hybrid 3s. Aha, looks like they're going after the mass driver fleet. And presumably that's what happened to the other two ships in the mass driver fleet, is they got H3'd. Because again, these have no point defense. Getting more mass drivers on the field is pretty cool, but no point defense, kind of murder. Also, no DC lockers and basic CIC. So this thing probably got hit by just a couple missiles right in the middle block, and it just killed it. Because point defense is required, damage control lockers are required, and reinforced CICs are, well, they might not be required, but you should definitely have them. Otherwise, this is going to happen to your fleet. And presumably, assuming these don't lock on to one of these two already dead ships, it looks like they're not. They're too far out for that. They're going to run into this one and blow it up too. Whoops. Or they're not going to lock on to anything and just fly off into the ether. That's fun as well. Let's be able to maintain control of Charlie, although there is, unfortunately, this ship, I guess this is the one thing mines are good for, is keeping back cappers off your points. Mines definitely have that place, because this ship is not going to be able to come through here. Sprint mines, only 2 defenders? No way. This cannot do... I mean, unless these are triggering one at a time, and even though it's a little hinky. They especially can't deal with that if they get thunderheaded. It's just going to defeat the point of having the mines on the point in the first place. Other munitions are being spent. I mean, it's sensible. Might as well. Yeah, it's gonna hit by all 4 of those. It's not dead crazy enough, but one of the defenders is down, which means it definitely can't handle this minefield. How are things going on golf? ANS is maintaining control, keeping pressure on. But the OSP has cleaned up the beam team. And these Ocellos, oh man, these Ocellos are being suppressed into the ground. Look at these debuffs. No one's allowed to have fun on this team. And this guy should be able to cap this point, but he's probably going to die for it, considering how jacked up this ship already is. And presumably the rails will be firing into that once that starts happening. We have a slap fight going over here at Echo. Look at this. Look at this. This is silly. This is one ship maintaining it. Or no, it's not even in range. But he is contesting, combat-wise. These ships could just fly onto the point and cap it, funnily enough. They don't have to sit here and shoot at the Axford. It doesn't have any guns. Oh, there's another explosion. Glad we're in the tactical view again, because that owns... No one has been playing around the middle of the map, which I love. A gets capped from time to time by one small ship out of one team who will loop out of here and cap and then loop back in, or loop out of here and cap and then loop back in. They got other things to do. They're too busy fighting in... Wow, what is happening? Ah, there's a whole bunch of bullets going into Quiz's missile ship, which is dead. Actually, because of all those bullets, presumably. Out of Internet Explorer's team of 450s and the revolver. Unfortunately, I don't think this team has enough point defense to deal with all this, even with the Ocello and the Tug, although the Tug is pretty beat up. Let's see someone die! As much as I enjoy gaming with Internet Explorer, I like watching everyone explode. Not as much damage into those hybrids as I was expecting, I'm gonna be real. Some going into the Ocello as well. But I think this thing was already pretty beat up. Now it's extremely beat up. Also got, well, oh, that's the reason, because a lot of these contacts are decoys. That's why they're doing less damage than I predicted. This guy isn't firing 30 hybrids into someone's side. Although that would be pretty funny to see.
The enemy is securing zone Gambit. The enemy secured zone Eclipse.
Just look at it. No idea what's happening over here. These missiles might be a little too much for Virgil. Yeah, those decoys doing their job. He's gonna just slam into the side of this thing at probably the worst possible angle. Doing a ton of damage into this middle section where all the important things are on an Ocello. Obviously not the reactors or the drives, but a whole bunch of everything else, including the magazine and the CIC. It's a big problem. It looks like the ANS push over here has been more or less deflected. There are some remaining frigates, but OSP maintains this point, and they have the military advantage with these Ocellos. Incredible. I was not predicting that. I figured these would eventually die. OSP team able to cap Echo after finishing off that fucking thingy, quiz, Over here, at least I think. No, it's Metsuke. Why did I think it was Quiz Quiz? Maybe these belong to Quiz Quiz? Maybe I just can't read. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I'm illiterate. You ever think of that? Oh my, look at all the rails coming into this thing. Dealing an insane amount of damage. And taking things offline. I think rails have the damage to punch through most TTs. Just enough. Toasty Medic having issues. Well, he's not playing a Keystone, but maybe someone else is. I see. That is correct. Problem, of course, being no buffs, but what's the problem with not having buffs when you just literally can't die? Or, metaphorically can't die. Hyperbolically can't die. There we go. You will die eventually, but it'll take a long, long time. And it feels like, to the layman, including me, forever! There's no time limit on this match. We're just passing the 46-minute mark on the recording, so if you're still here, thanks for sticking around. So, as previously stated, this able to cap golf. Not dying for it, though. Unlike originally anticipated. Gonna put OSP even on caps once again, which is pretty dang good since they're up by 400 flipping points. This battleship exercising control over Foxtrot, it's taking an insane amount of damage, and I honestly have no idea from what. Since we've been everywhere else this entire game, it's poked over the top here. Presumably it's taken some damage from the mass drivers, since we didn't see them going into things over here that much. And mass drivers do a crazy amount of damage. It's also probably taking some shots from 450s. There's one of those mass driver ships going up, presumably roasting this one less alive one. Probably taking some fire from these 450s down here, these Ocellos, when he was poking his nose out over the top there. Just a whole lot of damage. I need some water. My throat is not having a good time. There's more gray on this map than blue or orange at this point. Another going up. I think this one also just went up because this one exploded and then this one exploded. Or that might have been just been the tail end of that explosion. Smash driver fighting. Yeah, it was just the tail end of that explosion. And not getting roasted at all. Like, well, maybe a little cooked here on the rear end. Just a touch cooked, but not crispied. ANS has more ships on the field for sure, but I think the bulk of their firepower is down. They've got scouts, some rail ships, some more rail ships, some of this combat frig blob, some more. No, these are beams. I'd always think. But he hasn't really been doing anything. He's been stuck over here. Although now he's getting in there. Oh my. Get some vengeance on Kerbal for wasting his time down on Bravo earlier. Bill Manitor still in the fight with a big combat ship. Inc. also fighting with some cruisers, some light cruisers, but I think this is going to be able to pump out more damage, more raw damage anyways. Maybe not. Yeah, and just not a lot of firepower. This ship, especially being messed up, and yeah, it's dead. It's out of restores. So what you see is what you get here, which is 2 whopping cannons. There's about half of a battleship. There's an Axford, a couple voxels, a few beams, then just a whole ton of scouts and long-range options out of the ANS team. Oh god, the OSP team is looking in a worse shape though. They don't have much left on the field, but what remains has a lot of potential firepower. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not fine, but it can shoot all its guns, and it's got 250s on it, like the big triple barrel 250s on it. Virgil also has the big triple barrel 250s. Internet Explorer bringing 450s. And there's just a lot of firepower. This piston miner somehow surviving after that big fight that never ended down here on Golf. Vindicator is done, he says. Yeah, I don't know if that's correct. Oh, that's not. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. It's quite done. Good night. Those beams just sort of uninstalled this ship from the game quite effectively. It's anybody's game at this point. OSP obviously ahead on point, very ahead on points, and I'm just passing the 2/3 or the next one up, the 3/4 mark. But ANS and OSP both at a disadvantage. It feels like, at least to me, that no one's having a good time here. Because the ANS team doesn't have that much in the way of firepower, but what they do have that can still shoot is in mostly pretty good condition. Because this and these beams are doing pretty damn well. The OSP still has a lot of firepower, but everything that can shoot on their team is in abysmal condition. Look at these things. Look at them. These aren't even going to be able to come back from the fight. Well, Toasty Medic's ships are actually in a pretty good spot for the most part. But they're like way over here, which is maybe fine because they can sweep through here and clean up. Especially if Bill Minotaur's Axford gets caught out by two of these 450 Ocellos and some support from these monitors with plasma on them. Dropping out of the action. Yeah, this could be it right here. This might be the most important thing, because this is, until very recently, the most dangerous ship the ANS had. And it looks like it's about to get destroyed by an insane crossfire from 3 different directions. Plasma and bullets. Unfortunately, the plasma and the bullets are not coming from the same side, so the rear end is going to get roasted and followed up with some T-30 fire. But the real damage is coming out of these 450s, and that's going into the front, which has not been plasmaed, is in quite a good shape overall. It's actually kind of hard to see, since this thing's painted matte black, what's roasted and what's not. That's interesting. Someone making a whole lot of noise right outside my apartment. I hope nobody can hear that. Distracted me for a second. I figured out what the hell that actually was. These voxels, they still fighting. Man, these voxels are still fighting. I cannot believe it. Pushing this ship. Ink repping some Star Trek Enterprise Mako Marines. Get in here. Look at that. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Ooh. Finishing this bulker off with tons of 250 fire. This bulker seems to be pushing forward, maybe trying to angle so that the plasma is actually helping this ship, which is taking a bunch of rail fire in the meantime. So it's going to significantly reduce its potential to output damage. Man. It's really coming down to the wire on this one, because the ANS is now up on caps, and I think that's going to stay for a while, especially since they have the numbers advantage. They have so many more ships. Most of these ships aren't very combat capable, but they do have enough that they can keep on up on the points front, unless... Let me down there. Ooh. I was gonna say, unless the ANS can't, or the OSP camps their points, I can't talk with combat-capable ships, but and use this as an example. But this is no longer a combat-capable ship. This is, in fact, a very dead ship, And this might be able to cap, except it might not be able to cap because these are coming in and shooting it as well. What is this game? 10v10, is this the new game mode? Is this the future of, what are we playing? Nebulous Fleet Command? I'm gonna be real, I kind of hope so. This is madness, this is insane. And as we've been seeing, this format makes support ships really strong since you're developing less of a percentage of your overall firepower to these support roles, and the games are a lot longer. The matches are a lot longer. So rails, and then even just these like Pinards that are just all over the place can have more efficacy over the course of a game. Since survivability is so important. Oh man. Just awesome. This thing debuffed into next year. This thing probably going to be debuffing into next year next. Because these Ocellos are bow tanking as they should be. Unfortunately, that means they're taking rails on the nose. Which is a little bad. ANS very up on caps now. Closing that point gap. If they can take Delta and Alpha, they might be able to close it out. Because what remains for the OSP team are a bunch of slow beat to hell Ocellos, which have also presumably been flying in flank for a decent part of this. So their thrusters are going to be damaged heavily from flank flying. Flank flying, flank flying, flank flying. Yeah, say that 10 times fast. And just gunfire. Even the chat box lagging a little bit here. I'm gonna try to get this out as fast as possible. The Solomon's still flying around with one gun on it, actually able to contest Foxtrot if it can get into the sphere. At least it will be able to for a little bit with just with the crappy small gun mount still operating. And I don't think this ship has enough raw firepower to kill it. I mean, it could eventually, but not before the game ends. Not unless he fires into the drive cluster and runs it out of power, or manages to clip the turret and kill its ability to override the point cap. Meanwhile, what's been going on down here? Yeah, this ship has been getting shot from, now it looks like 4 directions. No. Those are friendlies, probably shooting at something over here. Bill Manator able to absorb the plasma of his enemies in a little-known exploit and make his ship even more powerful. Oh, the humanity! That's actually kind of a good point. He has no armor, but all this 450 fire is just going straight through. And overpinning does very little damage. New meta, everybody. Get your ships stripped down with plasma fire to be resilient to the 450 fire coming out of Ocellos. I think even 450 AHE are going to overpin an Axford if there's literally no armor on it, because they're just gonna swoop, slide right through. That's a bit of an interesting interaction, and gonna be kind of a problem considering Ocellos are fairly hegemonic. 450 Ocellos specifically right now. I don't know if that's gonna continue to be the case, but people are loving them. People are bringing them. Balanced discussion is going off about how the Ocello's too powerful, it needs a nerf, and I think those people are clowns. But it is very popular, it's very prevalent. It's the core of any OSP fleet, which makes sense since it is a Command Cruiser 1 and the only actually military vessel that the OSP have access to. All their other ships are just converted cargo ships of one form or another. Shuttles, of course, being people cargo ships. This beam team Out of Weesenix, I was talking earlier, talking some smack about how they just aren't doing anything, but these might wind up being one of the most important teams of this match right here at the end. OSP able to get some more caps in. They managed to grab Bravo. They're currently grabbing Charlie, and they're grabbing Golf back. And they've grabbed Foxtrot. Oh, man. It is just... Oh, dear. That's kind of a huge problem. Because the ANS really needs to stay up on caps. Like, really, really has to stay up on caps right now. Or they're going to lose and lose very soon. But OSP taking him... I think that's it. I think that's a W for the OSP. The ANS could take more points back. But I don't think they'd be able to take enough to win. At this stage, since the OSP is only 140 points out and they're getting 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 points a tick. And it takes, what does it take to cap a point? Like 60 seconds? I don't know how often the tick rate is on points. I need to look into that. Maybe against Dodo. Yeah, I think it's time to call it. That has been an absolutely insane match. And we're down to the end with ANS has a ton of ships on the field, but most of them don't have much in the way of firepower. OSP has almost no ships on the field, but pretty much all of them have good firepower. Well, that one doesn't. It's firepower got scooped out. Yeah, all these and the Toasty Medics, and Toasty Medics in pretty good condition. I'm surprised considering how long he just sat over here and just fought the whole match, and he's doing pretty good. Goodness. Oh.
The enemy is securing Zone Atlas.
I don't know when it's going up, so I'm not going to make any promises. I'm trying to get it up as soon as possible, but sometimes YouTube takes a million years on processing, and sometimes it doesn't. Now we're just waiting for the points to cook off here. Yep, there it is. OSP victory. Good job, good job. I'm clapping. I don't know if that's audible. But the ANS team also did really well. Now, here's the real question. Is the battle report going to be able to handle all these? So far, I have had very little luck while dropping into the battle report with this many people on the map. I like how points are still changing hands even though the battle is over and the things are getting exported. That's really funny. Oh, and I got the fleet editor music, got the sick jams, the slow jams, ready for gaming, ready for watching. Oh yeah, load it up. All right, we got to go through the victors team first. I usually intend to do that, but it doesn't work out very well. Captain Chaos able to deal 14k damage with his mines. Not sure how many of those were his own. Might have been none. Might have been more. Certainly didn't see them hit him, but Goodman not really able to get much done with these mass drivers because, surprise, you didn't bring any point defense or damage control. Both of these things are required. This is a cute idea to try to get way more guns on the field than you could if you respected your opponents, but not respecting your opponent's ability to kill you is gonna get you killed. Before you can do anything, Internet Explorer pushing out the deeps with the Alamo and the guns. The gunship here, the revolver. A little over 20,000 damage. Just Virgil, also able to get over 20,000 damage. Or no, wait, what? Ah, that's damage repaired and damage taken. Damage received, I'm looking at. Damage dealt is 1,500. A little lightheaded after that, just because of all the talking and all the big breathing. And woo! a good time, too. A lot of fun. So I might be misreading some of this. I also think I've been locking my legs a little bit while I've been standing here casting this, which is very bad. Don't do that. It's going to mess with your blood flow. Not a whole lot of damage out of Virgil, but he's able to contribute. Dramus, 10k. Just not bad. I think he got taken down pretty early. Both him and Virgil got taken down pretty early on the Delta Echo side of the map, or Bravo Echo maybe? No, it's Delta Echo over there. I still don't have Canyon perfectly memorized. I mean, I've got the shape of the map memorized, but I don't remember which point is where. Kerbal Space Police taking over for Ellis Wrath and also using his own ships to decent effect. I think some of these were at the bottom on Golf. They got wrecked to Reno'd by those rails down there. Oh, yikes. This team not able to do friggin' anything. Exerting pressure on the middle of the map the early part of the game, but they just got cleaned up real early. Mitsuki fought over Delta for a really long time. And yeah, I was able to control it and not control it, and then control it some more, and then not control it some more. Ton of damage, an absurd amount of damage coming out of these monitors. What the fuck? Plasma plus T30 plus the extra plasma from one of the other players. It'll do an absurd amount of damage. 30,000 damage out of those, plus the 8k from the Ocello. We only have 1:50 left in this report. So I actually need to go through these really fast. Piston Banner, 20k. Not much damage coming out of here. Out of Ryeb. Toasty, 20k. Just sticking and fighting the whole game. Alright. Alexiev. Oh my god. On a rail ship? Rails are fucking imba. That is a joke, although he did perform pretty well with those. Bill Minotaur doing some good damage, but mostly being valued for his map control. Discorus also not doing much damage, but getting an absurd... What? Eh? Oh, this is the beam guy that went under the map. Yeah, he got waxed pretty early. Where's the beam guy? Hold on, before we... That was actually fighting things, because I really wanted to look at his damage. Alright, 15k, 11k, 22k damage! Oh, so this guy is definitely the MVP of the ANS team. With his cool 40,000. 46 or 7,000 damage. Zambarino leading the charge, but got knocked out early. Ooh. Got a Margie here. This guy with the empty name, not really able to do anything with this battleship. Just sort of chilled on the top of the map. It exerted control for a good long time, but didn't do that much with it. Frag Magnet also had some issues dealing out the damage. I think he got taken out on Alpha pretty early. Switchback. His little Frig Blob did damage, but it didn't take much, which I think is a problem. Like, it wasn't in combat anywhere near as much as it could have been. Although it was in combat near things that were a lot more dangerous than it. Oh, are we going into a fucking other one? I don't know if I can do another one. That was intense. Hell yeah, 10v10 station capture. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I've got a Discord, join that. I made announcements here. A lot of the people in this match are actually from that Discord because I was able to ping everyone there and say, hey, we got a big 10v10 going. Get your ass down here, let's do some fighting. And if you want to be pinged, if you want to have it a little easier time finding matches, because LFG channel in the official Discord is nice, but you can't ping, which sort of makes sense, because otherwise you'd be pinging like 10,000 freaking people, because everybody and their mother who has played this game has joined that. But if you're serious about getting into games, I think that other Discord is a good place for that. I'm rambling. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye. I will see you in the battle space, and we're moving on to the next video.